Thank you so much for putting that together. You did a wonderful job. I really appreciate it. You made me look good. Thank you. You know, it just makes me, of course, all these movies are in my past. It makes, when you watch it, you really start flashing back to many memories, and I won't bore you with a lot of it, but just watching those clips from Inconvenient Truth really remind me of what an honor it was to work with Al Gore. I had this crazy idea to make a movie out of his slideshow, and it was kind of crazy. And if you can imagine raising, I want to raise $1 million to make a movie about Al Gore's slideshow. Who's going to give you that? And we had no idea what was going to happen, and so we're all very grateful for the we made the movie, but it was Al Gore's mission, and we actually stand on these shoulders of giants. That's a quote, and I really feel that way in that movie. I'll tell you one funny story. I was in Oslo. I had the honor of being in Oslo. You know, when you're making movies, you dream of things like Academy Awards. You don't dream of going to Oslo to be with someone who wins the Nobel Peace Prize. So we were in Oslo, and it was in the morning, and I go downstairs, and there are all these people sitting around a table. And they looked like they were probably the scientists. So I introduced myself, and I sat down with them. I said, I have one question, and they're all talking. And I said, so 2,500 of you guys had to sign off on this document. There's 130 countries. I'm just assuming that 2,500 of anybody has to sign off on something. It's got to be a conservative document that, probably some felt it was worse, some felt it was better. And there was, I won't mention names, but these are the people in charge of the Arctic chart, all the different reports in this great document. And one woman said, absolutely not, that this document holds, and it's exactly where it should be. And then this gentleman next to me, the scientist who was in charge of the North and the Arctic area and Greenland specific, he said, I was really angry that the material in Greenland didn't get said in there. And then someone else said, yeah, but that didn't, and then all of a sudden the entire table erupted. And it became really clear that there was an enormous amount of disagreement from just the 5 or maybe a few more scientists at the table. And actually that it was quite worse, or at least a lot of the people at the table thought it was quite worse than what that document said. And so that document that we all looked at and became publicized and was actually, where many of those scientists feel was the base, and it's actually much worse. So I came back feeling kind of disheartened, but it was a great experience. But that's why groups like this are so important, because without groups like this, there's no hope, and groups like this give us hope, because this is where the rubber hits the ground. And then I was looking at, Anatomy of a Hate Crime, and I thought about this, when MTV showed that on TV, when the movie was over, they screened for 18 hours, which is the amount of time that poor kid was left on the fence before he died. They scrolled. They didn't play any advertising. Didn't play anything. It was basically black with hate crime victims. So all that said, hate crimes is still a horrific problem in this country, and there's a lot to do. And then when I watched this wonderful movie, Voces Inocente, about this true story about a little boy during the war in El Salvador. They put the kids in the army at 12 then, and this is a story about a little boy who ran off and joined the guerrillas at 12. He was caught, all his friends at that age, by the way, the AK-47s are taller than most of those kids at that point. They had to create special guns for them. They were all shot and executed. And then this young boy, his uncle Beta, who I met, saved him in this firefight. And he ran off, got here, he grew up, and he wrote this beautiful screenplay that we shot. And we felt really good about it. But as you all know, there are hundreds of thousands of child soldiers all around the world who are in this horrible situation, who are killing and being killed. And then I watched with amazement Matt Damon do that speech. It felt like it should have been written today, right? Except for 250, it's 4 something. But we shot that 10 years ago, and yet we're in the predicament that we are. And so it is. I'm very happy to make these movies, but it's the people, it's groups like this that really are the ones who are making the difference. Because without you, these are the foot soldiers, these are the people that actually are doing what needs to be done. I love making movies. I love making these kind of movies, and they're really hard because no one really wants to give you the money for them. No one really wants to distribute them. and somehow by hook or crook you get them done. And for me, it's a passion because I get to join filmmaking and the desire to make a difference in the world together sometimes. And so it's an honor to be able to do that and be able to stand up here. As I was reading the website today before you came over here, it was great because in the top of the website, I know that you want to, this website needs to, I was told it needs to be updated, but at the top of the website, the three main things it talks about are climate change, basically climate change and nuclear proliferation and other environmental degradations. And I am proud to say that I'm involved in a documentary about nuclear weapons. And I'm meeting with all kinds of interesting people. Actually, most of the people I've met with in the last few months are no one I would normally talk to because they're all, I have to say this, I'm a Democrat, and I've been speaking to lots of Republicans. And it's pretty amazing. It's like Nixon going to China since I've met with them. Some extraordinary people. And I'm not going to say who yet because I don't want to get myself in trouble, but people who I normally would never want to be in the same room with, let alone to have a conversation. And what's interesting and what's wonderful is that this nuclear proliferation issue, there are many, many people on both sides of the aisle that feel like this is the greatest threat, along with climate change, that's facing us. And there are a lot of people working on this, and like Joe Cirincione, who's going to see in a second, and Hans Blix, both who have been consultants on our movie. So I'm looking forward to you guys supporting this movie next year because hopefully it's going to make a difference, and hopefully it'll help you do what you do. I just want to thank very quickly Martha Arguello, and she was thanked earlier, Denise Duffield, where are you? Somewhere out there, the entire board, and especially Erica. Thank you so much. There you are, Erica. Hi. Thank you for doing this and having me be honored. It's an honor for me here with people like you who are really doing the hard work. Thank you so much.
So on behalf of the Physicians for Social Responsibility, I gratefully present the Socially Responsible Media Award to Lawrence Bender. Please join me.
Thank you again, Lawrence and Dean, both. Thank you for spreading the word of our communities and for your extraordinary work. I just want to briefly introduce now the next part of our program, which is going to be introduced by award-winning investigative journalist Michael Collins, who is the LA Press Club's 2007 Print Journalist of the Year, to introduce tonight's musical guests, which will be a wonderful follow-on to this lovely interlude. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica, and thank you, PSR Los Angeles, for helping me during the last 10 years of my environmental reporting. I'm thrilled to stand here before you to introduce my friend of over a quarter of a century, Grammy and Academy Award-winning, multi-award-winning artist, Gustavo Santaolalla. A singer, composer, producer, guitarist, and visionary musician, Gustavo is the godfather of rock en español and has been a principal force in cutting-edge music since he first started out in his native Argentina. In 1997, along with his partner Aníbal Kerpal, he established his own record label, Circo, which has produced, amongst others, the Mexican acts Molotov, Café Tacuba, Julieta Venegas, the Colombian singer Juanes, and the Argentine rock group Divididos, selling millions of albums in the process. The new millennium has been graced by Gustavo's brilliant work on such iconic films as Amores Perros, 21 Grams,